Hey everybody, welcome to Digital Aircraft, Blockchain and Aviation. I am very excited to have you with us today. Today we talk about airline operations, we talk about ticketing, and we talk about bookings. And let me ask you this question. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you haven't been able to make a decision on whether to fly or not because you didn't know when you were going to fly, and you were afraid of maybe the change fees, or you were afraid of, I don't know if my date's going to change. My question is it possible that the blockchain could change that? We're going to explore that and find out. Let me bring in my co-host here, and let's begin this conversation. Hey, Gabriel, how you doing today?
How's it going? I'm doing well.
Great, good. Hey, Gabe, I know you've said this over and over again, broadcast after broadcast, but sometimes people are new, and I just want you to tell people, where you're located. Where are you located at today?
I'm in Seattle, Washington today. It's a little hot, but I hear it's hot in other places as well. So
yeah, good. All right, okay, I'm sorry.
Usually not this hot here.
Yeah, very good. All right, Gabe. Hey, Gabe, I always also like for people to know who you are and what do you do. So could you just give them a quick shout out on who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, so my name is Gabriel, and I've been doing new business development at DigitalAircraft for the past couple of years with some sales and marketing. And then I've just been researching blockchain and technical analysis for the past few years, since about 2017. So it's one of my passions. So I'm glad to talk about it today.
Excellent. I always want to have some young blood as part of our broadcast, and that's why I bring Gabriel because of his knowledge and what he brings to the broadcast. But hey, listen, let's jump right in. Gabe, I want to start off by asking you a question. Is that last couple of broadcasts, we've talked a little bit about cryptocurrency, we've talked about blockchain, and we've talked about NFTs. Could you just briefly, for the people watching today, just tell everybody what is an NFT again, just so we can open up that conversation?
Yeah, we have gone over this, but once again, NFT, the NFT actually stands for non-fungible token, and what they pretty much are digital assets that tie physical, or they tie ownership to either a physical or a digital item. A few examples could be some real estate or art where a token is created and they're able to be put on the blockchain. So it's, once again, it's immutable and on the blockchain there forever. So the ownership is a big thing about non-fungible tokens. And another example that we could be having in the airlines is possible boarding pass. So maybe a physical item could be the boarding pass, or the digital item could be the a QR code with the e-ticket, right? And a non-fungible ticket could be created there for the airlines. So that's a possibility, something that we might be talking about today.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Well, listen, I think that's all really very interesting. And I'm very happy that we're bringing on board today a guest with us from the company called TravelX. And the company TravelX is a company, well, we're just going to jump right in and introduce them right now. I'm going to bring in Juan Pablo Lafosse. And Juan Pablo, welcome to the broadcast today.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, very good. Hey, listen, Juan Pablo, we're going to get into a lot of details today. And listen, I know that we've had a lot of excitement about this broadcast because I've had a lot of people talking in the chatter, on LinkedIn about this broadcast. And people want to know really who are you and what do you do. So let's just kick it off with that.
Okay, I'm Juan Pablo Lafosse. I'm the CEO of TravelX. TravelX is a company that is building a blockchain-based distribution and retail infrastructure for the travel industry.
Okay, so a distribution and retail infrastructure for the travel industry. All right. Well, we're definitely going to have to find out more about what that, really means. And so good. Hey, listen, I'm going to put us on a quick pause here for a second, because one of the things that I do is I work really hard to try to, draw our audience in, because we want people to, we want audience participation in everything that we do. And so for those of you watching out there, I just wanted to ask you, would you please share this live stream? I have had so many people asking about this broadcast, and we're going to have a lot of really interesting information. So if you would share this, right now, there's a button down below where you can share it. That would help us get the word out. And then the other thing that I do is I love to give people a shout out. I like to know who's watching and from where. And so if you're watching this broadcast today, there's a comment box down there. If you would just go down and just let me know where you're watching from, we'll give you a shout out. We'll give you a little bit of a recognition, from it. And it's always fun to know where people are watching from. And then, by the way, we're also going to try to ask some questions here today. And one of my goals is to find out who can ask the hardest question to stump Juan Pablo. Okay? How's that sound?
The hardest.
No, we're going to be easy on you today. We promise that we will. So So for those of you out there, just let me know where you're watching from, and we really appreciate it. So listen, Juan Pablo, let's jump into the conversation. I think first of all, I'd like to ask you, can you tell us a little bit about TravelX? Just a little bit, who is it, and what do they really do?
Okay, basically TravelX is, what we're doing right now is we're building, the technology that enable, airlines to tokenize their inventory. As Gabriel have just said, we're tokenizing each specific, space on every flight that enable, to create an NFT or an NFT ticket, as we call it. And once you can you tokenize your inventory, you can distribute it in a much more efficient way. Airlines will be creating a new asset, an enriched asset, that what we believe that is like the evolution of e-tickets, that using the NFT properties can make that these tokens can be transferred, can be traded, and as each NFT has embed and a smart contract with specific rules, the airlines can distribute it on a much more efficient way and making money every time that this token is transferred or resold. They will get money for each specific transaction, and if there is a price increase on when this token is transferred, they will collect most of these incremental revenues. So this enable airlines to distribute their inventory within their own channels, but also within travel agencies and new channels, and they also enable peer-to-peer distribution. So it's a much more open and flexible distribution, a decentralized distribution, and it improves on one side, the customer experience, as they are, offering their customers an enriched asset, a much more flexible asset, and at the same time they are increasing their revenues, and they're making distribution much more efficient.
Yeah, you brought up a whole bunch of concepts and thoughts, and so this is really exciting for me because what I want to do during this broadcast is I want to talk about the industry and what's happening, and then what's driven you to look at some of those challenges, and then really where is the future going. So that was really a great starting introduction to it. So thank you for sharing that with us. And for those of you watching, remember, we're going to be digging in a lot more deeply. Hey, listen, we have a lot of people that have joined here. I'll just give you a shout out here. We have Marcelo, joining us from Miami. Welcome, Marcelo. We have somebody that's joined us from Buenos Aires here, and sometimes the names don't come across. I'm sorry about that. We have Jan Ruiz joining us from Miami. Do you know him? Is he an associate of yours by chance?
No, he's not an associate, but I know him very well from my past within the travel industry. He's a great guy.
Fantastic. Very good. Very good. Very good. We have Sandra Demore, who I've worked with in the past. He's in Dubai. And we have our faithful follower, Rena, who's joining us from Toronto. She informed me on the last broadcast that she's been on every single one of our broadcasts. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. And we have additional guests from Buenos Aires. And, Juan Pablo, it's always exciting to me because, in what world could we have ever imagined that we can connect with people, all over the world simultaneously on a platform like this? I love it because I can bring together a community of people and they can hear your great thought leadership and ideas. And it's just really exciting to be able to see that. We have people in the US that have joined here from Tennessee. Jeff, thanks for joining. And India. So I'm not sure, but I think we've covered most corners of the globe except for maybe Africa so far. And here's another friend of mine. He was on one of our previous broadcasts, Artur's. He's with Air Baltic, and they've just come out with a new exciting NFT launch called the Planies. And if you haven't seen it yet, you definitely need to go to their Twitter channel and take a look at the Air Baltic Planies NFT. Go there. It's very exciting. So, hey, we're seeing so many different things going on in the industry. Juan Pablo, another thing that people really like to know is they like to know something about you. They want to know if you're what your background is, okay? And so I'd like to ask you just to share a little bit about your journey. How did you get to where you are, and why are you doing this? What's your passion, right now?
Okay, I'll try to do it short. Basically, I have almost 30 years within the industry. I've been, in the past with on the aviation industry. I've been chief commercial officer of Argentina, largest airline. I have also founded two large travel agencies, online travel agencies. One on the 90s, that it was the largest Argentina travel agency, but with also operations in Europe, the US, and along Latin America. I have also been on the hospitality business. I had have funded a couple of hospitality companies. And I have also founded another online travel agency that it was called El Mundo, that it also had operation in Mexico, Colombia, Brazil, and Argentina. And I sold it 3 years ago on $80 million. And I have started, investing in, early startups, and I have invested in almost 70, early stage companies, and many of them were using blockchain technology. So I got really excited and interested about it. I started, learning about it, and one day I say, with all this experience within the travel industry, I think that blockchain have got to the maturity to be able to be a really game changer technology for the travel industry. So put together a group of really experienced team on tech, blockchain, and also travel and aviation. We founded last year TravelX. We did an $11 million seed round, and have started developing our technology, our product, and connect and engage with several airlines and many strategic partners. Here we are at TravelX right now.
Yeah, that's really exciting. What I like about that is that all that experience you have in operations, okay, and in the industry having to do with travel agency operations, and so I guess that provided you with a really solid foundation for your innovative, look at how do we improve that. That's what it sounds like. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, I've been within the travel industry in the last 30 years, and I have seen so many changes within the travel industry, and there were many changes that really improved, our industry, and basically it enables, an impressive growth, and that was also linked on internet, also on the internet appearance, but also all the development of the revenue management. And that was great because what it did is enable new customers, new middle class customers in the last 30 years, and that was amazing. But at the same time, what it happened is that in many ways the air tickets as a product haven't improved that much, and also distribution is have became in many ways very unflexible, and that not only took capabilities and improved the experience of travelers, but it also reduced the capabilities of retailers. And so blockchain technology right now, what it can do is like put the best of both worlds. It's like enabling suppliers to improve their distribution, but at the same time improving their customer experience, and improving the retailing the retailing capabilities of all the stakeholders within the industry, and make the distribution much more efficient. And as I said before, it can enable a decentralized distribution that I think is the most efficient way, especially at this stage.
Yeah, so I think between the operational experience that you have and some of those challenges that you described, I think the best path for us to go now maybe is to dig down into the next level down and say, could we have a little bit of a conversation about the industry challenges? If I were to ask you to sort of pull out the key industry challenges in retail and distribution, since that's what TravelX is focusing on, where would you start? Where would you say are the key challenges that exist in retail and distribution?
I think challenges are linked to how in one way control the main variables of the aviation industry, but at the same time be capable of giving the customers the capability of have a better product. And as I said, the main blocker right now for any customer at the moment of buying an air ticket is that the customers don't really know if they will be able to travel at certain date. So, and that's what they stop them in many cases to buy, in most cases, to buy their ticket. So right now we're creating a much more flexible asset, but in a way that so on the customer experience is a much better asset. It's an enriched asset, but at the same time, whatever happened, from that moment, it will be a good thing for the customers. It will also be better for the airlines, because the airline will be able to keep on getting revenues if in case the passenger can't fly and want to transfer it to somebody else, or you want to resell it to other customers. But it also, it's much easier to distribute and sell an NFT than an air ticket. So this open up like so many distribution and use cases, that basically what it's going to happen is, the demand is going to grow, the retailers going to improve their capabilities, and basically it's going to be like taking the industry to the next level, and it's going to be a much more flexible industry in many ways, but at the same time a much more profitable on the airlines and retailer side.
Yeah, so you brought up a lot of interesting thoughts again about the challenges in the industry, and I agree with you about the challenge of not being able to make a decision to buy. I can't tell you how many times I've said, I don't know if I should buy the ticket now or not, because I don't know when I'm going to travel. So that's interesting. Hey, listen, before I go to the next question here, I wanted to just recognize a few more people. It looks like we have some additional visitors from Brazil. Welcome, Geraldo from Brazil. And let's see, we have some questions that are popping up. And so I'm gonna maybe introduce the next section here, and then we'll go to some of the questions. Okay. So let's do this. Let's shift into a little bit of the solution conversation is what we'll do first. All right. I've already got people asking me questions about the solution. It's a little bit hard. This is a long one, but I'm going to pop it up on the screen momentarily. I'm going to jump to the end of this where the question is, and then I'll take it off so we can see, because it kind of blocks the screen here. But the last part of it says, how is blockchain used in the B2B space? So, okay, so I think we're going to get into more of that. So maybe, Juan Pablo, let me do this. Let me hold that question until we get into the details of that. So we'll probably hold that one, but I'll let you start thinking about that. All right. And then we have some other questions here that have come up. Let me see here. We have this one here that says, do you know if in the near future they'll start to implement this technology in the airline industry? So let's just do that. Let's hold a couple of these questions as we get into talking about the technology. So how is it happening? Is it a viable technology now? These are all questions that are going on in people's minds right now. And so I think the answer that you're going to say is yes, 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 yes. So let's dig into that right now. Okay. How does that sound? Okay. So let's dig into the next part. All right. So you've developed a solution. TravelX has developed a solution. You're in your 75-person strong team has developed a solution, which is amazing. Thank you. All right. Let's dig into it a little bit. Can you start to describe that solution and what it really is? All right.
Okay. Basically, is what we are doing is the platform that enable an airline to tokenize their inventory, and we're creating the wallet that any airline can use, but also the customers and any retailer that want to sell these NFT tickets. We're creating all the smart contracts and models that enable these NFT tickets to be sold within the travel industry, meaning that we are connecting, travel agencies, we're connecting, we're letting the airlines to, implement our technology on their own channels. And basically, as we're connecting to the airlines inventory, and we're building like a layer that is on top of all the existing technology of the airlines. And on the other side, we're connecting, we're connecting all different of retailers, as I said, travel agencies, but also other marketplaces or social networks. And we're also we're building the technology that enable a buyer to sell it, and you can sell it as the NFT ticket using an auction or at a fixed price. And we are building the protocols that enable that in case there is a transfer or a resale, a large percentage of these revenues are going directly to the airline's wallet. And so the first case where we'll be launching in about a month. So we will be launching in Latin America and Spain, connecting airlines. We're launching a marketplace, a B2C marketplace. But basically what we're doing is we're building infrastructure where anybody can connect and be, as I said, an airline, with their supply. On the other side, anybody who is interested of selling this inventory in any different ways.
So this isn't future technology and capability. This is technology and capability that works now, today. That was one of the questions was.
Absolutely. This is it's already. I mean, we'll be launching right now. But if you think about it, and we are convinced that in a very near future, most travel products are gonna be sold as tokens, as it makes distribution so much powerful, so much efficient. Because think about it that within an NFT, what you can add is new business rules that you can't right now implement within the existing technology, and this enables so many use cases and as I said, enable the capability of any supplier to keep on making revenues when they have sold their inventory.
Okay, some people are asking a bunch of questions. I'm going to bring some of those up in a minute, but I know Gabriel had some questions about, not deep technical questions, but he had some questions about, the technology and basically how it's working. Gabe, I don't know if you had some questions that you wanted to throw out there.
Yeah, I did. I heard that, first of all, I know you mentioned that you guys were you created your own wallet, right? So we're not going to be using anything like MetaMask or you created your own wallet for this?
Yeah, I mean, we have started as a centralized company, as many of you may know. I mean, within Web3, you have centralized most exchanges and decentralized companies. As this is like such a large industry and with so complex that we thought that it was better to start as centralized. So basically, and that's why we're building our own wallet that at the same time is going to be like a wide level wallet, meaning that anybody can connect to that wallet, and any company, any airline, any travel agency, any marketplace can use all this service through that can build. What they can do is they can build their own wallets using our infrastructure, or they can use our own wallet as a white label. So we're opening the both options.
Let me Gabe, let me shift over and throw some audience questions up if I could. Here's one that came in, and somebody's just simply asking the question. I think you've answered part of it, but maybe you could answer it more specifically. This person must be in the Middle East, and they're wanting to know, are you ready to implement this viable technology in the industry? What's your response to that?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we have been in Dubai and Doha just a couple of months ago, there's so much interest from Middle East carriers, and as a matter of fact, we will be, attending the ARCO meeting, that is the Arab Airlines organization annual general meeting that is going to take place, I think, on September 5th. There's a lot of interest from Middle East carriers to start using our technology. So definitely, we'll be launching in Middle East pretty soon.
Very good, very good. Another question we have is that, are you just focusing on retail and distribution, or are you going into other areas like, baggage infrastructure, or what is that part of your roadmap?
Yep. Basically, as I said, we're studying based on aviation. And we're focusing right now on distribution and retail. But our idea is keep on within our roadmap to developing new solutions to the travel industry, and meaning, letting airlines to mint their own coin, to tokenize their miles, to also use, our solution as their identity solution, and as you said, probably track travelers' luggage as well. I think that there's so many opportunities. You are doing this these lives basically because there are a lot of companies working on this space, because that's definitely blockchain technology is a game changer for the industry.
Absolutely. So I have a few more questions, but Gabe, I wanted to throw it back to you. We stopped that. You had a few more technical questions just about how it's being implemented. What else did you have for him, Gabe?
Right. So I did want to ask, were you guys building on Ethereum at all, or was this your own? I'm assuming that it was your own private blockchain, right?
Not really. Basically, we have last year we have been, a lot of these technical discussions about, using Ethereum or not. But basically, we end up, using Algorand network. Okay. For many reasons, but basically in terms of cost, and also in terms of performance, and it's really important. We know that.
I love Algorand. Yeah.
Algorand is great. As a matter of fact, Algorand is also one of our investors, and we had an extremely good relationship with them. So they have, as I said, right now, they have a really, the cost is very. They are really cheap in terms of minting, but their performance is great, and something that is really important, they are carbon neutral. And I think that for our industry, that is a key issue. So that's one of the reasons why we have chosen Algorand. We have also chosen Circle as our stable coin, the USDC, as right. The stable coin that enable all transactions. And thinking about sustainability, we have also partnered with Climate Trade, and that is a blockchain solution to offset emissions of every ticket. So basically, we will give our customer the possibility to offset the emissions generated by their NF ticket. So, and because we understand that this is really important for not only for the customer, but for the world as a whole.
We have so many good questions coming in. I'm going to keep going here. So Rena asked another good question, which is, let's ask the first part of this, is tokenization per flight, per day, or how does that really work? Can you sort of describe, what are you tokenizing?
Okay, we're tokenizing each specific space on each specific flight. That's why it's a non-fungible token. It's like, it's the right to fly on that specific seat on that specific flight on that specific date.
Perfect. Another good question here is, you had mentioned that a certain percentage of it would go to different places when the ticket is sold or resold. Can you sort of explain how that works? How the allocation of something might work on resale?
Perfect. I mean, we have working a lot with different airlines about the revenue management model. And what we have built is a dynamic model that gives that let the airlines collect between 50 and 90% of the incremental revenues of each resale.
Yeah, good. That's really good. So let's see. We have one other question, then I'm going to go on to the next section here. Let's bring this one up. Is that, you know, it's a very good question. Is there a level of acceptance or non-acceptance that exists out there today? Certainly people have stable revenue models, and you're just going to go in and disrupt the world. Do you think you can just do that, Juan Pablo?
Sorry, I was reading the question because I thought that you were talking about the question. Can you repeat the questions?
No, the question is that what's the level of acceptance and apathy? You know, how difficult is it going to be to roll out this model right now?
Basically, I mean, we have been, you know, discussing this a lot, you know, last year with, you know, airlines and associations, you know, travel agency associations, also with regulators. And basically what we are doing is a model that what it's doing is, I mean, it's not attempting or going against any travel industry stakeholder right now. So that's why we're having a lot of traction, a lot of acceptance, because as I said, what we're doing is we're enabling and helping the industry to get to the next level, improving, you know, the profitability and efficiency of the airlines, improving the customer experience, and improving also the capabilities and efficiency and profitability of most retailers. So as a matter of fact, we are getting a lot of acceptance. As a matter of fact, much more than we thought at the beginning. We thought that was going to be really extremely difficult. But what I can say is we have been with about 50 airlines up to now. None of them have rejected what we're doing. We have like many airlines within our pipeline. We also have the support of travel agency associations and many regulators. For example, I can give you an example. In Chile right now, there's a law that enforces the airlines to give the customers the possibility to transfer their tickets if they can't fly. So in this way, you know, we're bringing a solution that is good for, as I said, good for the customer, but it's an extremely good solution for the Chilean airlines.
Yeah, very good. I know that that's a challenge, you know, being able to exchange tickets or to, you know, to refund them. And so that's very, very interesting. I think that's going to really help the industry, you know, in making it easier to manage our flights is what it's going to do. Hey, listen, I want to just bring up a little side conversation. If many of you out there have heard the word TravelX before, you might have actually seen it in the news. There was a press release that came out a while back, and I wanted to just sort of tell you about a little bit of a situation here. It wasn't that long ago that TravelX, in partnership with Air Europa, they had a little event. And Juan Pablo, I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about this event that occurred and what really happened. What was this Air Europa NFT sales situation all about?
Okay, great. Basically, what we wanted, you know, last April, we wanted to show, you know, like you know, a proof of concept of the opportunities of that our technology can bring to the airlines. So that's why we partner with Air Europa, and together we have done an event at the Eiffel Tower at Paris. What we did, we put together, you know, an air ticket with a piece of art and a collectible piece of art, and we made an auction, a public auction, of that first ever NFT ticket. You know, the first ever, you know, air ticket sold as an NFT. You know, including a piece of art of a extremely well-known artist, and as I said, we did a public auction, and we got an offer of more than $1 million for that ticket that was sold on April 19th, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. And so at the same time, you were doing a proof of concept, or you were demonstrating, you know, the acceptance of this. you associated an element of art with a ticket. And if it's my understanding correctly, is the ticket was from Madrid to Miami for the conference that's occurring later this year. Is that correct, in November?
Exactly. It's absolutely. It's by the end of November.
End of November. I saw in the news it said November 29th. But basically, you sold that NFT, and surprisingly, somebody acquired that for over $1 million. That's pretty incredible. Yeah. But what I might say, though, is that if you look at any first release of something, a commemorative release, many times they're considered to be more valuable. And so whereas I understand you were surprised that it sold for that much. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It was much more than we thought that we would collect from that ticket. And the good thing is that Air Europa collect most of those revenues. So it was a really good use cases, and we show how we can create value for the airlines.
Yeah, very good. Well, congratulations on that. But what I wanted to remind people, and Juan Pablo reminded me when we talked about this, is that it's not about selling $1 million NFT. It's about providing this highly efficient retail and distribution network, to the industry to enable us to be more efficient in the management of ticket inventory in the industry. So here's one more question that I thought maybe you could answer. Someone is saying, is this just something you're doing in Argentina? And if the economic factors in the region are affecting it in any way, or where do you see the rollout and distribution of this?
Definitely it's going to be used in Argentina. Within our roadmap, it is launching in Argentina pretty soon. I mean, as I said, we will be launching in Latin America and Spain, in the coming months before the end of the year. And the question, I think, also was related to the economic situation of the region. I think that as I said, as we're bringing to the buyers, the capability of have a much more liquid asset, and it brings them a much better product. I think that that this what will create is much more. It will increase demand, but it will also increase the advanced booking. So people are gonna start buying much more in advance, and no matter how the economic situation, or if there's any trouble within people economy, having an asset that can be resold or can be transferred, it gives customer much more what do we say? They give them flexibility. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, more confidence. Exactly.
Yeah, good. Hey, Gabe, I know you had some questions when he brings up the term liquidity. I know you had some questions about sort of how all this was going to be handled, and maybe that'll flow us into the next question that I want to bring up from the audience. But Gabe, did you have some thoughts about how this was working on liquidity that you wanted to ask about?
Yeah, just some quick thoughts. So it pretty much sounds like you've created this marketplace, kind of similar to something called Uniswap, right? If anybody knows what Uniswap is, you're able to swap out tokens for other tokens. And this would be kind of similar, but the way that liquidity is provided there is people actually, they stake their coins, and they are liquidity providers. Are you guys going to be having individuals providing liquidity as well, or are you guys just providing all the liquidity?
No, I mean we're a technology provider. Mm-hmm. But as you said, what we're doing is we're connecting, different stakeholders, but not only from the travel industry, but as you said, we want also to connect, and we are also connecting, the travel industry with DeFi, with decentralized finance. So we will be connecting lending protocols that will enable not only the suppliers themselves or any seller to sell their assets, to sell their NFT tickets in installments, but also third parties as the individuals that will be able to provide liquidity and finance, buyers from suppliers that are not ready to give installments to the customers. So we're at the technology, and we're connecting everybody to this technology, improving the suppliers, retailers, and customers' capabilities.
So you're
Awesome.
basically expanding the flexibility of that entire pool is what you're doing. You're making it easier to sell a ticket. You're making it easier for someone to make a decision to buy it. You're making it easier to exchange it. You're making it easier to maybe exchange it with somebody else. And I know there's a lot of details. I know people are asking questions because here, let me throw another question up. Somebody asked a question here that was kind of a little bit similar to this, is that it's hard to grasp this concept of how you have an NFT. And so, here's this question that says, how do you handle seat bookings per traveler's choice when it happened just a few days before the travel, as the ticket's already been sold by an NFT to the customer? Now, I think that comes from maybe, not completely understanding how this process of swapping and buying and moves around. So maybe you could go back over that again and just explain how this works a little bit. Okay.
Perfect. Basically, what we're doing is we're connecting to the airline inventory. And when we're connecting to the airline inventory, we're tokenizing and creating this and replicating that ticket. And so the NFT ticket and the existing PNR or e-ticket will coexist and will be linked. And any change on the existing e-ticket or PNR will be, in case if there's a change, it will be replicated on the NFT ticket. So up to the day you fly, and at that time, both will be connected and you will be flying. So it's basically, as I said, you are buying on a specific space, on a specific flight, on a specific date.
Yeah, I know it's a little bit hard to grasp because people are thinking about all the problems and all the challenges that come with that. Okay. And if I like Gabriel, I like your example where you said, okay, I know this is oversimplified, but it's like a Uniswap, of tickets is what it is. All right. What you're basically doing is you're enabling a place where we can move inventory in and out and across, and we can facilitate, utilizing that inventory. And so I know that's not a perfect example, of it, but that gives you kind of the idea. And if you want to, for those of you watching that are IT people and programmers and things like that, if you want to consider it as like the middleware of ticket swaps, maybe you could consider it that as well, but that's not even a good example of it either. But if we take all these ideas and wrap them together, what we're really doing is we're providing a place, this blockchain, and we're giving it these NFTs and these tokens, and we're allowing the inventory to be connected and enabling greater movement of our assets. Gabe, you brought up liquidity, greater liquidity, of our assets, and really just improving our ability to be able to access, travel and bookings and tickets. I mean, that's what's really, really pretty exciting about this, to me. It really is. Hey, Juan Pablo, I want to go to, the final segment of our conversation here today, and here's where it goes to. There's many people that have reached out to me already from the industry upcoming, before this broadcast today, and tried to connect with me. I had travel agencies, I had some airlines and different people that connected with me. And what that tells me is that there's people that are saying, what is this? I want to understand this better. Okay. So first of all, where is your first implementation of this technology? Where is it starting right now first?
We will be starting in Latin America, specifically in Argentina, Colombia, Chile, and Brazil, and in Spain. Okay. And then we will, within next year, we will be growing within the US, Europe, and Middle East.
Yeah, good, very good. Hey, listen, a friend of mine from Unisys just joined, Darko Todorovic. Hey, welcome, Darko. He has a really good question. I wanted you to ask you if you can answer it for him. He's in Madrid, and he has a question. He says, can you sell the NFT tickets on a secondary market?
Absolutely.
And can you exactly explain how that works then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about, travel is probably the only large industry where you're buying an asset, but you are not the full owner of that asset. Basically, it's you're paying for an asset, but that you can't do whatever you want with that asset. If you buy a computer, a phone, a a car or whatever, and you want to, sell it to somebody else, if you want to, give it as a present to your friend or your mother, I mean, you can do it. You're full owner of that asset. But that's not what is happening within the travel industry. So, but basically, what we're doing right now is we're enabling the secondary market, but in a way that it not only benefit, the buyer, but it also benefit the supplier, because the supplier or each airline will be collecting, revenues every time that asset is resold or transferred.
Okay. Hey, listen, this brings up an interesting question. First of all, Darko, thanks for asking that question. I really appreciate it. There are providers out there today that have, revenue management systems for the airline industry, whether it be SETA or Unisys or other providers out there. Do you have partnerships, or do you anticipate working with different providers out there? How do you envision that working?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we do have a team that have been working on all the revenue management aspects of our technology and our model, our business model. So we're taking all these insights and also the airlines insight. And right now we're talking with like 4 or 5 revenue management technologies providers to, we are partnered to find the best way to optimize and take advantage of all the opportunities and use cases that would create for suppliers to improve the revenue management capabilities, using NFT tickets.
Yeah, and if you're providing this kind of a platform which has reach and access to so many people, I can see that, partnerships and relationships with things and clearly defined interfaces, all these things are very extremely important to its scaling, and growing. I see that's very important. So following on my question before I brought that question up is that, how can travel agencies and airline operators and people like that, how do they connect with you? How can they move forward? If they're interested in what you're doing, what's their next step? Just tell them what to do.
Basically, they should write to us. We will set up a call and explain it how it works. The good thing is, our technology is extremely simple to implement. I mean, as I say, it's a layer that goes on top of existing technologies, so it's really simple to implement for the airlines. And on the travel agencies and retailer side, as I said, they can connect through APIs. They can use our white label, or they can just buy and sell their NFT ticket within the open marketplace.
Yeah, and let me just point out again is that I am I have been a small startup many times, and so I just wanted to point out to you is that this TravelX has moved beyond the small startup stage. Okay, this concept has been proven. Absolutely. It's been developed. You have 75 people on staff. You've proven it through different places, and so this is a technology that is being implemented today, and so people that are interested, they can reach out to you. Is a good way to reach out to you on LinkedIn, or how should they reach out to you?
I mean, they can write to me at my email, that is jp.travelx.io, or they can connect through LinkedIn, and we will organize with our team a presentation from our team.
Very good. So just for clarity, it's jp@travelx.io is his email address if you want to reach out to him. And if you're interested in reaching out to Juan Pablo on LinkedIn, he's on LinkedIn. He's very responsive to LinkedIn. I appreciate that. And so that's probably one of the directions that we can go. Let's see. I did have a couple of final questions I just wanted to throw up. I really like for to try to engage with people and answer their questions. And Rena asked another good question here. She's asking about, does it work with off-chain, or is it just directly with the airlines, or let's see. So one of the complications in doing this is that you're going to have people having different reservation systems, and they're going to be on different blockchains. And so let's just talk about this. Is that, why don't we answer her question by, can you explain a little bit the onboarding process and how you envision being able to connect such an expansive network through something like TravelX.
You know, as I said, basically, you know, we are connecting to in the way that each airline would prefer. Meaning, we can connect directly to their PSS or their middleware, or we can connect through, you know, APIs. And right now, for example, we're already partnering and integrating with different PSS. As a matter of fact, we have already connected to an existing PSS. So basically, any airline using this PSS will be automatically available to move on with our technology. So they basically don't almost need to do nothing, any development on their side.
Yeah, very good. Listen, thank you very much. Hey, listen, I'm going to leave this with all of you watching today is that, you know, we've been going now for over 50 minutes. And I just wanted to say is that one of my goals in doing these broadcasts of blockchain and aviation is to bring awareness to what's happening in aviation with respect to blockchain. Okay. You know, we could go on for hours and hours and describe all the challenges and the technology and the value and the advantages. And I wish that we could do that. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to start a conversation, and clearly you've done that. Okay. You know, there's probably not a lot of people out there that really understood that this is real and that it's actually being done and that it's possible. And what's exciting to me as a frequent traveler is that I have frustrations, you know, about I buy a ticket and I need to change it and it's difficult, or I want to give it to a family member, or I cancel a flight and I can't find it again. The e-ticket number disappeared. And all of these things are extremely important, you know, to the regular traveler as well as the infrequent traveler. And so, you know, what you're doing is so powerful right now that I can see that there's a tremendous need for this in the industry. And let me recap one thing you said, all right? You said that one of the biggest hindrances of people buying a ticket is the not knowing when they're going to travel, okay? If you could do one thing is take away the apprehension of buying that ticket, it just seems to me as though you're going to dramatically increase the flow of ticket purchases and the revenue that goes to an airline. Is that true?
Absolutely. You know, we are pretty sure that, you know, this is going to happen. As I said, I mean, most tickets will be sold on NFTs, you know, in the future. And this basically what will create is a lot of new demand. And you know, we have tested. I mean, we have a lot of very strong assumptions to think about this. And basically, what we're doing is we're bringing profitability to the travel industry. We're improving experience, and we're taking more customers on board, and we are increasing the recurrency and loyalty of existing customers.
Congratulations. Hey, listen, your business partner, Francisco, he put your email address there, so I'll just throw that up on the screen for those of you looking. There's Juan Pablo's email address. And then if you want to get in touch with Francisco, there's his email address. Since I brought him up, can you just quickly tell people who Francisco is?
Francisco Vigos, he's the Chief Commercial Officer of TravelX. So right now he's in charge of all the partnerships within the airlines and the travel industry.
Very good. So listen, he's a great person to reach out to, the Chief Commercial Officer at the company. So if you have any questions, right there's Francisco's email address. Just reach right out to him. Great. Thanks so much. Hey, listen, Juan Pablo, what a great discussion today. I really appreciate it. This is really very exciting. Gabe, what's your reaction?
I think that this is also very exciting. I think that what you're doing here for working on the existing chain Algorand, I think that's amazing. I think that unfortunately, until Ethereum gets its act together with Ethereum 2.0, I think you guys are heading in the right direction in regards to sustainability and making it green. And I am excited for this. Very good.
All right. Awesome. Juan Pablo, thank you for joining us today. And I look forward to seeing your future success. And I wish you the best in the business that you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark and Gabe, for your time. I really enjoy our conversation. and let's keep in touch. There's a whole industry to change.
Very good. I agree with you so much. Hey, listen, everybody, thanks for joining us today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on our next broadcast. Let me just tell you, on Friday, I have a special guest from EasyJet, and we're going to be talking about air traffic management. He used to work at Heathrow and at the company NATS, and we're going to be talking about how data is being used in optimizing of air traffic. So you're going to want to join us on Friday for that next exciting discussion. Everybody watching today, fair winds and following seas, I just thank you for joining, and I hope to see you on our next broadcast. Bye for now.